Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and if you are new here, a very welcome to you too. I'm really happy you found this video. I hope you will enjoy it. We spent a night in Oakhurst. We're up bright and early, driving Highway 41 towards the park's entrance when we spotted the sign for Lewis Creek Trail. It's just a few miles from Yosemite's southern entrance, and it's one of those beautiful, quiet, off-the-radar spots that most visitors simply drive straight past. However, make sure you don't hike alone. Waking up early really paid off because of our next stop. It was a horseback riding at Yosemite Trails Horseback Adventures. It's a family-owned business that dates all the way back to 1935. We joined the 2-hour ride, and the scenery surrounding you is uniquely beautifully Yosemite. There is something genuinely surprising. Yosemite has its very own grove of giant sequoias, and it is magnificent. Welcome to Mariposa Grove, the largest and the most celebrated sequoia grove in the whole Yosemite National Park. After everything we had seen already at Sequoia and Kings Canyon, I wasn't sure what to expect. However, it is extraordinary on its own right, and it has a history and character that makes it completely unique. The Mariposa Grove was first protected by Abraham Lincoln in 1864. It means that in the middle of the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln took the time to sign legislation protecting this grove of trees. These giants must have been jaw-dropping for anyone who first laid eyes on them. Welcome to Yosemite Valley, everyone. We have arrived, and honestly, standing here in this moment, looking out at all of this, I can tell you that this is a place I've been dreaming about for a very long time. And let me tell you, this place exceeded my expectations in every way. Our first stop down on the valley floor was one of the most iconic, instantly recognizable waterfalls in the world, Bridalveil Falls. When there's enough wind, the mist and spray from the falling water is blown sideways, creating a shape that resembles the veil a bride may wear. We found parking in Yosemite Valley, jumped on the free shuttle, and headed for our next stop. What's quite interesting is that this valley represents just 1% of Yosemite National Park's total area, and yet it is where the vast majority of visitors arrive and spend their time. We hopped off the shuttle at the stop number 6 to be able to walk to Yosemite Falls. It's a 739-meter waterfall, which makes it the 22nd tallest waterfall in the world, almost 10 times taller than Niagara Falls. On clear spring nights with a bright moon, you can actually see moonbows at the base of the Lower Fall. It's worth to mention John Muir. He was born in Scotland in 1838 and emigrated to US as a child. He was a self-taught naturalist, geologist and botanist. He first visited Yosemite Valley in 1868, and he was so overwhelmed by its beauty that he spent years living and exploring there. He was a naturalist and the driving force behind convincing President Theodore Roosevelt to protect vast areas of American wilderness. The two famously camped together in Yosemite in 1903, under the stars, no staff, no luxury. And that experience directly led Roosevelt expanding federal protection of wildlands significantly. Yosemite National Park is situated directly in the heart of Sierra Nevada mountains. Every winter, hundreds of centimeters of snow accumulate in the high Sierra Nevada above this valley, and every spring all that snow begins to melt. This can cause flooding, and no flood in Yosemite's recorded history was more catastrophic than the Great Flood of January 1997. The river rose to nearly 6 meters above its normal level.
I am your fearless leader, it's true. I do need to introduce you to somebody else who is the unsung hero of the tour. Let's give it up in advance for our driver, Jay. He is awesome.
We joined the Valley Floor tour, sitting back, taking it all in, and letting someone else to do the driving while we soaked up the most famous valley in America from every possible angle. We pulled up at El Capitan, 940 meters from base to summit, 3 times the height of Eiffel Tower, and seeing people climbing it is most surreal. We continued to Valley View, and the view it offers is simply stunning. Gorgeous, wide, open perspective on the entire valley stretching away from you. View that makes you fully understand why artists and photographers have been coming to this exact spot for over 150 years. Our final stop on the Valley Floor tour brought us back to the tunnel view, our second visit of the day to this iconic overlook.
Eagle Peak is the highest peak in the Three Brothers Formation.
We had to start our next morning at the tunnel view, much emptier and quieter, and probably the best decision you can make on your entire trip. After a beautiful drive, pulled into the Wawona tunnel, and then came out the other side, and I completely lost my words. The tunnel view, ladies and gentlemen, the most famous views on the entire planet. After that unforgettable sunrise, we jumped into the car and headed to the Glacier Point. It's about an hour's drive. The elevation is climbing steadily beneath you. Glacier Point sits on the south wall of Yosemite Valley at an elevation of around 2,200 meters above sea level. That gives you something different, as it puts you at the level with other peaks, eye to eye with Half Dome. Half Dome is right in front of you. Vernal and Nevada Falls, Yosemite Falls, and the endless peaks and domes of the High Sierra stretching away into the distance. It is a panorama of almost incomprehensible scale and beauty. You keep turning your head, and every direction offers something more extraordinary than the last. And looking out at the view, you couldn't imagine a more perfect place in the world to say, I do. Glacier Point is also historically significant. It was here that John Muir and President Theodore Roosevelt once camped together. The same John Muir we talked about earlier, whose passion for wilderness helped shape the entire national park system. On the way back, we made one more stop along the road. Two trails, same trailhead, completely different experiences. Sentinel Dome and Taft Point. And between them, they offer arguably the finest hiking views anywhere in the park. We started with Sentinel Dome. Trail leads mostly across open granite with little shade. The view from the summit gives you a full 360-degree masterpiece of the view, and there is simply nowhere to look that isn't breathtaking. The hike itself is short, just 3.2 kilometers round trip. From Sentinel Dome, we made our way along the trail to the Taft Point, and if Sentinel Dome gave a soaring, panoramic 360-degree grand tour, Taft Point gave us something altogether more visceral, more raw, more genuinely heart-stopping. And near Taft Point, you can encounter the fissures, narrow fractures in the granite. At the end of the day, we made our way to our final destination, the charming little town of Mariposa, where we were staying for 3 nights. Mariposa is proudly known as a gateway to Yosemite. It's no more than a 40-minute drive from the western entrance to Yosemite National Park. The town was born during California's gold rush. Drawing miners and settlers from around the world, the historic downtown district features more than 60 historic buildings dating back to gold rush mining era. And that, my friends, wraps up our incredible Yosemite adventure. I hope this video inspired you even just a little to get out there and experience this yourself. Thank you so much for watching, it truly means the world. Don't forget to subscribe and add some comments.